Hello Steelers, and welcome to this game of Chain of Command. This is set in Italy, 1944. It was a patrol-phased game that I'd actually set up yesterday for my friends to introduce them to the game. The reason I did a patrol phase, because I just wanted to make it really simple for them. Their first, well, one of them's first game, and the other one he's only played a couple of games at Chain of Command at this point. So I kind of wanted to umpire it for them too, just to see, you know, how they got on and explain the rules and talk about some of the nuances that are in the rules as well that they wouldn't understand as a new player. So that was yesterday. I didn't actually film that game. It was a British attack on a German position, well, a British patrol meeting with a German patrol, should I say, rather than an attack. But the Germans managed to get into the villa in the centre here very early on and held it pretty well against the British, who were trying to advance down this road here, on the flank here and also on the flank over there. They didn't get very far, I've got to say, because the German close assault really decimated them and held them in place on the left flank, and also a German MG42 in the villa held them down on the road here as well and basically just cut them to pieces. Their final section was also held over here by the German support option, which I'll show you in a bit. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to replay this game as a solo game for this video. So it's slightly different. It's not based on any particular historical event or anything. It's just set in Italy in 1944. Hence I wanted to use my infamy as terrain just to add a bit of flavour to the table as well. And basically we went through every single stage. So they've already done the patrol phase, so I'm not going to show you that. Because I'm going to use exactly their jumping off points that they came to, and I'm also going to use the force support points that they used as well as part of the game. Everything was rolled for, including the force morale. So it's literally just setting up the game as they played it yesterday, apart from obviously just taking different decisions with the forces involved. So I'm going to see if this time the British can crack the German defence, as it was yesterday. I keep saying it's the German defence, it kind of just fell into that because they were able to get into the buildings. But what I will do is I'll show you the forces involved, I'll show you the table as well, we'll get rid of this little cat and I'll get on with the game and we'll see if the British can break the line this time. As you can probably hear, it's absolutely lashing it down here, so it's nice to be able to go to sunny Italy, at least in the game form, if nothing else. But here are our forces that we've got. So we've got a German platoon over here, made up of 3 sections, 3 Zug, each of 6 riflemen, and a 3-man 6 rifleman team and a 3-man LMG team with 1 rifleman, so 2 crew and a rifleman, and a junior officer armed with an SMG. They also have their senior leader. He's a level 4. He's here at HQ with the Panzerschreck team, 2-man team. Also, for the force options, my friend Mark rolled for a 3 to choose off the table 3, and he went with an SDKFZ 250 with a 4-man scout team, so that's added in. I possibly would have gone for the flamethrower because I know how devastating they are, but he went for this, so that was his choice, so this is what I'm sticking with. And then over here for the British, same again, another platoon, each of 3 sections, made up of 6 riflemen and then a Bren team with 2 crew and also a junior leader. They also have a lieutenant and a sergeant as part of their headquarters. They also have a Piat and a 2-inch mortar. And my friend Dean, he rolled on the 2. He rolled for 2 of his support options off the 2 table. And he went for another 2-inch mortar. Now again, I probably would have gone for the pre-game bombardments if I was choosing those, but I allowed them to completely choose all of their forces from start to finish. So this is what we ended up with, and this is what we're playing with today. I also allowed them to roll for their force morales as well. I took them through every single step of the game to play the game. The British ended up with 9, the Germans ended up with 10, so they're obviously a little bit more buoyed up in this particular situation. And this is the table. We did the patrol phase, so I'm not going to do it again, because I wanted to play as it was set up from their point of view. And the Germans, you can see here, we've got basically a small villa in the centre of the centre of the board, with a little taverna, a little roadside taverna next to it, and a little crossroads or junction there. So obviously an important position to capture. Surrounded by, there is a river flowing off down this way with some trees, fields, providing light cover, and then also scattering of trees and bushes and things as well on the other sides. So as I say, I just basically set this up just to give them an introduction to the game itself. The German jumping off points, we've got one here just behind this field. We have a second one in the villa itself, close to the vineyard, so that's a very good position that they were in. And then their third and final one is back here behind these trees here, so pretty good tight spacing for those jumping off points, and really close to where the good cover is as well. The British, on the other hand, as we come round here, you can see where their jumping off points are. So we have one behind the fields over here, the ploughed fields. They had a second one all the way over by the trees on their left flank, and then their final one was just behind a little clump of trees or bushes on the very left flank as well, by the road. So almost a flanking attack really, because they came in that left flank. The Germans were able to come onto the table in the centre of the table when we rolled for where their patrol markers started. So that's it really, it's that simple. A nice little quick setup. I'll start the game. The Germans will go first because they've got the highest force morale, so we'll get their dice rolled and see what they do, and see if they can do better than see if they can do as well as the Germans did in the previous game. Right, so the first German roll is, we've got a 5 there, so that gives them 1 chain of command point straight away. So they're off to a running start, and they have 2 2s, a 1 and a 4, so a reasonable mix there. Could get a couple of sections on, and even a team as well, and also, if they wanted to, their senior leader. So first of all, the Germans have decided to use a junior leader. They've combined the 2 and the 1 into a junior leader and deployed a section in the villa itself from this jumping off point. They've lined the windows. This is very similar to what happened yesterday with the first German move anyway. It's pretty obvious, and they're basically lining the windows, so 2 out of each of these windows, 2 rifles, and then the LMG out to this corner, and then one chap pointing out of here, another one pointing out of here. Because they came on with their junior leader, they've gone on to Overwatch, so they're now covering quite a large area to the approaches of the villa. And then using that second section, the 2 dice, they brought in another section here. These have just deployed from one of the closest jumping off points into the woods here behind the villa, and they're going to be trying to make their way into some of these hardcover buildings here. Again, pretty similar to what happened yesterday with the Germans. However, they'd set up here in the woods, so they were in light cover and a little bit overexposed, I would have said. But here they're behind the villa, so they've just got to get through those walls and into, probably they're heading for this barn over here to try and fortify that. So the Germans decided not to bring on their senior leader because it would be harder to bring other stuff on afterwards. So we've ended there. So it's gone over to the British, their first phase. Right, well, that's a pretty good roll. So they've got 3 4s there. 3 5s, sorry. So that's straight away 3 points on their chain of command dice. In yesterday's game, I'm not going to keep referencing it, but in yesterday's game, the British didn't even get a single chain of command dice. I think they got as far as 5, and that was it. 5 points. We've got a 4 there, so that's a senior leader. Do they really want to bring one on at this point? The only one they would bring on would be the sergeant, and for what reason I don't really know at this point, so they're going to hold off on that. And the 6 on its own does nothing anyway, so it pretty much passes straight back to the Germans in this case. The British are not going to do anything. The Germans are retaining the phase, so already they're getting these bonuses and another chain of command points, so that takes them up to 2 as well. They've now got a senior leader, a 4 and a 1 a team, so they could actually bring on that 250, because that's counted as a team rather than being led by a junior leader. So that might be something they might do. So the only things the Germans have done here is deployed their 250 with the 4 men in it. It has an LMG MG42 on top of it, mounted on top, but that's all it has. It's come on here quite away from any of the action at this point, but it's a fast vehicle, so I guess two extra pips on its dice for movement, so I don't think it'll be long before it's in action. So we'll go back to the next German phase. Right, holding on to that phase, the Germans, see what happens with that. Oh, 4 sixes, so that ends the turn. It also is a random event as well. And they also have a single section. Okay, so for our random event, we have to roll a d6. Just keep that 2 to one side. The Germans retain the phase as well anyway. Also their overwatch comes off, which is unfortunate for the men in the villa, but let's just see what happens for the random event. A 1 is a random mortar barrage drops on your battlefield. No troops of any kind may move in an area of ground 24 inch square in this phase and the next. So we apply the grid square to the table and roll a d6 to see which of the square it will be. So I'll get that rolled and we'll find out which area is being affected by mortar fire. So the square that was affected was 6, which is this bottom one here, so 24 inches has basically blocked off that entire area. Fortunately for the Germans in the building, they're just on the edge of it, so it's not affecting them, but it might affect the British if they deploy on their far jumping off point in that back corner. The only other thing the Germans have done is, unfortunately for them, their Overwatch has come off, so they're going to need a junior leader to get them back on Overwatch. And the other section has just moved forward because the turn has ended, so their Overwatch has come off. The other group has moved forward, and they just managed to get over the building, over the walls, into the farmyard itself. So the Germans retain the phase. That mortar barrage will disappear off the turn at the end of this phase anyway. So it's not really going to affect a great deal of things, I don't think, in this game. So 5, sorry, that gives us a chain of command points. That takes them up to 3 now. They have a 6 on its own, is doing nothing anyway. Then they have a 3, a 2 and a 1, so that's a reasonable mix. Maybe a team, a section and a junior leader. Well, we've got a bit of a slow start here so far. The Germans are just rushing forward to get into that barn. They didn't manage to make it this turn, but they probably will be in next turn. They use their junior leader to put those that section back onto Overwatch, so they're now watching over those areas again. And then finally the 250 zoomed forward at full speed to get down the road as quick as possible, so at least it's in a good position to do some defending if any British do eventually show up. So speaking of the British, it's over to their command dice. Let's see what we get. Oh, that's a reasonably good number actually for what they need here. So they've got a 1, 3 2s and a 3. So that could be a couple of junior leaders, a senior leader, or all 3 sections and a senior leader as well. That is an interesting dice roll actually, so let's see what they do with it. So the British have arrived in force. They've brought on 3 sections and their senior leader in their sergeant. One of the sections has arrived here in this field. They're going to be firing at the villa, by the hedge. Another section has arrived in the woods, again firing at the villa as well and getting those off Overwatch, and one more has arrived in the fields on their right flank. Okay, so we've got quite a bit of firing going on. Like I said, we've got the section here commanded by the sergeant. He is firing at these Germans in this corner of the building. They will return fire at them, so I've taken their Overwatch off. This section is firing at the Germans on this side of the building. They again are firing back, so I've taken off Overwatch off of them. And then finally we've got the other section of British over there who are going to be firing at the Germans here in this corner of the building. So we've got 2 sections laying fire down in this area and then the rest firing over here as well. I could have laid down covering fire, but I don't want to. I want to try to reduce the German numbers as much as possible at this point. Maybe we'll put some covering fire down for when we start doing some manoeuvres. We'll see if we can cause any casualties. The Germans are going to react because they're on Overwatch. They'll be reacting to the units that fired at them. So this group will be firing down here at these, and this one will be firing down here at these. We've also got the sergeant. He's giving the order of 3 rounds rapid, so he gets to add an extra 3 dice onto their scores as well. So that's really taking them up. And we're starting though with this section down here, firing their dice, 12 dice in total with the LMG and the 6 rifles, and they are going to be hitting on a 5s and 6s. So let's see how many we've got in there, because they're just at effective range rather than close. So that is 4 hits, and there's only 3 men that they can see in those windows. So that's pretty good, to be honest. But the Germans are in heavy cover, so they are needing 6s to be killed, 5 is shock. So let's have a look. So that's 3 shock instantly on the Germans in there, and that's the rifle group. So there's the LMG team is in the other window. Let me just take that off so I can get them put up together. So that's 3 shock on the rifles, no kills though. They will then return fire with their 3 rifles, so they're hitting on 5s and 6s as well. 3, 3, 2, so that's all missed. We then move on to the sergeant and his men, so they're now firing with 15 dice because of the LMG, the rifles and his 5 rounds rapid. He's using all 3 of his command initiatives. Actually, yes, 3 of his command initiatives because he's just deployed. So same again, 5s and 6s. So we've got, let's see, one. Let's see how many. Or misses. Is this good? Or it's about the same actually. So that's looks like 5 hits in total, I think there. Yeah, so 5 hits on that German section. Well, there's the 2 up there actually because we've got the LMG and the rifles. The Germans are in cover, so they're going to put 2 on the LMG and then 3 on the rifles. So the LMG has taken a 5 and a 6, so that's a shock and a kill. Let's see if that kill. Well, we'll keep that kill to the side for 1 second. See if it ends up on the junior leader. And the 3 hits on the rifles in there. 2 5, so that's another 2 shock. That rifle section team already has 2 shocks, so that's now taken them up to 6 in total in there, with 1 kill in total. So let's just see. That is a 6, so it's not on their leader, but it is on one of the rifles, so that's taken them straight down. And because they're reacting fire, that means they're going to be firing with 1 less dice, because they've got 1 less rifleman in there now. It's not simultaneous. So they are firing at the British here in light cover. So 5s and 6s are hits anyway. And let's see, that's only 2 hits from the Germans. So Hitler's Saw is not doing the job it should be doing at this point. I think a couple more inches forward, they may have had a few more hits there. And let's see what happens. 1 hit on the LMG, 1 hit on the rifles. So the LMG hits. 2 is nothing, they're in light cover, so they need 4 or above, and the rifle hit 6, so that is a kill. Let's see if it's on their junior leader or the sergeant. A 1, no it isn't, so it's one of the rifles, but no other effects. So 1 for 1 at the moment, but we do have another British section firing, and they are firing again with 12 dice from over there at the front of this building, where there is now only the LMG team and 3 rifles. So let's just see what they get. 5s and 6s are hits. That's a pretty healthy number actually for the distance. Oh no, 4. I was looking at the 4. I was looking at the 4s there, but that's a good hit. 4 hits. So same again, 2 hits on that LMG team, 2 hits on the rifles team. So the LMG has taken a kill again, but no shock. We'll have to see if that's the junior leader, so I'll put that one aside. And then we've got 2 hits on the rifles, and that is another shock on those rifles, so that takes them up to 6. And that kill, is it on their junior leader? 5, no it isn't, so it's another kill on the LMG team. So that LMG team now is down to 1 man, so he's only firing with 2 less dice, so 6 dice now. Look, we've got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 men in there with 7 shock. So no effect to them just yet, but they are close to breaking, well, close to getting pinned already. Well, those Germans in the villa took quite a hammering there. Far more than I was expecting. But let's have a look. It's the Germans' turn. Phase, should I say. 6 does nothing on its own. 4, senior leader. 3, a 2 and a 1. So quite a mix. We've got a team, a section and a junior leader and a senior leader. Right, first of all, the Germans have used their junior leader to reduce shock in here, so taking it down to 4 on the rifle team, but it's still 1, so they've still got 5 in total, but at least they're less shock this time. And then they're firing 2 rifles down at the British behind the hedge, so 5s and 6s are hits. That's 1 hit. They're in light cover, 6 is a kill, 4, 5 is shock. It's no effect. And then we've got the LMG and the 3 rifles firing at the sergeant and his group. The LMG has reduced it mixed numbers now, unfortunately, so we're looking at 5s and 6s here, so there's only 2 in there. So that's 1 hit on the LMG team, 1 hit on the rifles. So the rifles, they're in light cover again, so 6 is kill, 4 is a shock, so it's a shock on the rifles, and then their second dice is a 2, so that's nothing, so they've just taken 1 shock on that rifle team. I've just checked back in the rules, and as ever, I've always made a mistake. The 250 actually comes with a junior leader, and it has an MG42 mounted on it as well. So basically it's a 5-man reconnaissance team, 4 other ranks and a junior leader. I've now added him to the forces. They then operate on a 3, not a 1. However, because I've been using it as a team previously, I'm going to say that the 1 that I rolled was a 3, and it has activated this turn and has moved forward. This is going to be the last turn I do it, so I'm not cheating anymore, but it's moved forward to the British. It was an honest mistake. What's happened here is this section have run across the road. They're trying to get into the little taverna, or at least into the compound. They didn't get as far as they wanted to, but they're getting pretty close. They're in a bit of an unstable position because they are in the open at this point, so the British can cut them down, but they're trying to close down this British section over here who are in the open. So we're firing with the MG42 on the 250 first of all, hitting on 5s and 6s at this range, so that's 3 hits. It's only firing half its dice because it moved, and 3 hits, so that's going to be, they're in the open, so the Germans choose 2 on the LMG, 5, that's a kill, and then 1 on the rifles, 6, that's another kill, so that's 2 kills. Junior leader, 1 or a 2? No, it's not, so it's 1 off each of those teams. Right, British Furries. Let's see what they get. Ooh, let's see. A couple of teams they can bring out. That's very useful at this point because they need a Piat. So let's have a look anyway. We've got 2 3s, a 2 and 2 1s. So a good selection for what they've got on the board. So that's a section, junior leader and 2 teams, or a combination thereof. Right, well, we've got more British firing in the into the villa. So we've got the sergeant, his reduced shock, and then he's getting his men 5 rounds rapid to fire into here, so he's only getting a +2 on his dice. And then we've also got the junior leader over here, who is also getting them to 5 rounds rapid into the other side of the villa as well, where those 3 riflemen are. So that's going to give them a +2 on their dice as well. That's all they're doing. So they're just going to try to reduce these German numbers as quick as possible before they can advance. So let's have a look. 5s and 6s are kill hits. So on the front, this is the sergeant and his men. So let's get rid of our misses here. This is about the only way you can do this, really, is just winkling them out slowly but surely. And so that is 6 hits landed on the Germans, 3 on the LMG team, 3 on the rifles. There's only 1 man in that LMG team left, so let's do theirs first. 6 has been kills, 5 shock. So let's have a look. 1 1 and a 2, so nothing at all, 0 effect. And then we've got the 3 hits on those rifles, 3 remaining rifles, 1 1 and 3, so no effect at all. So all that fire, and they couldn't hit a barn door with 20 paces. However, we do have our second set of firing from the junior leader this time at the 3 riflemen in the villa this side. So 5s and 6s again are hits, so we'll get rid of everything that doesn't hit. So that is we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 hits this time. These are all on the rifles. Same again, 6 are kills, 5 is shock. Let's see what we've got. 2 kills and 1 shock. So that is good. That's put them back up to 5 shock. 2 of them are killed. Let's see if it's on their junior leader, who's also in there. A 2, yes, he is hit. So let's see what happens to him. I should have rolled that separately, but I did see which one it was. So it is a 4, so he is wounded. So that is a bad things happen for the Germans. He's now reduced down to 1 initiative, and 1 German rifleman is killed. We have a bad things happen straight away for the Germans in a junior leader being wounded. So let's see, roll again, see what happens. Let me re-roll that. In there, a 2. Junior leader wounded, no effect. He was obviously a not very well liked man. So we are currently now on 6 shock, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 men in there still, so they are still just holding on. Meanwhile over here the British then used their section dice to move this section forward, just to get them into some light cover to stop the effect of that LMG that's coming at them. And they've also brought on a Piat. They brought up the Piat, and this is now firing at the 250. So it needs a 7 because it's slightly obscured. However, they are firing at their second range band, so there's 14 inches away. So that's a +2 on that, so that's a 9 or above. So let's see if they hit it. 8. No, unfortunately not. The first shot goes whistling off into the distance. Alright, with the Germans taking a lot of fire, they're going to have to do something here, so let's just see what happens. So 5 is a chain of command points, so that takes them up to 4. Nobody's got anything particularly higher at the moment, so they have a 1, a team, a 3, junior leader, 4, senior leader, another 4 is another junior leader as well. Of course, I mean that 4 is another senior leader, not a junior leader. Alright, on this side of the table, the Germans have deployed the team, their reconnaissance team, out behind that fence to hopefully fire at the British, if this bit doesn't pay off, because they're now going to do a hand grenade attack with the junior leader here. He's going to lead the men into the British here, including the Piat as well, because it's within 4 inches. So we need to see how many hand grenades they throw first of all. -1 because they're in light cover. 6 minus 1 is 5. That's 2 hand grenades, so that's actually 6 hits from the hand grenades. So let's see how many of those are kills and shock. They're in light cover. 4, 5 is shock. 6 is a kills. So we've got 1 kill. Sorry, hang on a second. Doing this all wrong, aren't I? We've got 3 teams in there, so 2 hits on the rifles, 2 hits on the LMG, and then 2 hits on that Piat. So let's work our way through them. Rifles first of all. 6 is a kill on the rifle. I'll just put him down to show when we tot up our kills. LMG team, another kill, no shock. So that's another one. And then on that Piat team, 6 and a 5, so that's a kill and a shock there. So that's 3 kills. Let's see if any of those are on the junior leader. No, it's not. So it's 3 of the rifles and one of the Piat guys. So I'll just get a marker for those in a second. We've also then got to see if the Germans can actually reach them. So they're rolling 3d6 to see if they can get into close combat. So that's 10 inches. I'm going to take 2 off because of the cornfields, but they can easily get around there and they'll be within 4 inches. So I'm just going to get that set up and then we'll do the close combat. Well, I've just totted up the numbers for the close assault, and the Germans maybe should have waited a little longer before they attacked, but they, I thought this was the right time. They've only got 13 dice against the British 22 dice. So let's just see what happens. 5s and 6s are kills, 6s close and shot. Even though they did pretty well with those attacks at the start with the grenades, so let's just see. It's quite a few kills there though. It's 5 kills and then 2 shock in there as well. So let's just remove those. That's almost wiped the British out actually at this point. So they've at least probably destroyed that British flank. Let's just see, put those there. Let's see who the winner is. See how many the British cause. Obviously they've got to cause more than 5 to be declared the winner here. And that looks like a lot of 6s and 5s in there, so let me just pull those out. See what we get. Yes, it looks like the British have certainly won this one, I think. So we've got, oh dear, very bloody. So they've won, well, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that 9? Yes, 9 kills in total on the Germans, which is their entire section apart from 1 man. And they've also caused 1, 2, 3 shock on those Germans. Well, one of those hits has got to be on the junior leader, so we'll see what happens to him. British on the other hand have taken 2 shock and also 5 kills, so that's going to be 1 kill on there. That wipes out the Piat team. So then the other 4 are going to be on these guys, so they've got 1, 2, 3 and then 1 on the LMG team. So they've basically got an LMG team. And, well, let's see if it is their junior leader that is hit. And the 6 he isn't. No, he is hit. So they've actually got one rifleman back in there. I'll put that in. Well, I'll just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, he's dead. So they have got the LMG team at least. But the junior leader is also hit. The German junior leader is also hit. So we've got, because I can't roll less than a 9 on the d6. So let's just remove the German casualties so I know what I'm doing. So we've got a German junior leader left and a rifleman. Everybody else here is dead. That's 9 wiped out. So let's see what happens to those junior leaders. Red is the British, blue is the German. So the German is heavily wounded. No, so he's lightly wounded, should I say. So he's been not knocked out, but he's reduced his initiative down to 1. The British guy, on the other hand, has been killed. Right, so we're going to have to do a bad things happen roll for that, for a junior leader killed. Also, the British have had a section wiped out. But first of all, I need to know what the result of that close combat was. It was 9 against 5, so the Germans are beaten by 4. They break and flee 18-inch in disorder. They double the number of shock points on each team. No escape is possible. The victors, they will surrender, but they are basically broken, and that is also going to cause them to break as well because we're doubling the shock on them. So let me just put these shock points down. You know, I can't quite remember what the Germans had, but I think at this point it probably doesn't matter. I'm just going to give them 6 because that will break that team anyway. So they're going to fall back 18 inches. They're going to fall back another 3d6 inches because of that break. So let's just see if they actually end up off the table, because if that's so, that's another junior leader routed. God, this is complex, isn't it? So we've got 11, 15, plus that 18 inch they've already fallen back, so I think they are off the table. So 15 and 18 is 30. If my maths proves me correct, it is 33 inches. Are they still on the table? No, they are literally at 33 inches away from the table edge. So they are off the table. So that's the junior leader routed. Team breaks. Well, let's work our way through this because this is going to take a little bit of thinking. First of all, we have a German team wiped out because that was the LMG team. They were wiped out. So we'll roll for that first of all. Team wiped out. A 1, no effect. Then we have section breaks because they did break because of being pushed back. So roll for that. A 3 on section breaks is minus 2 points for the Germans straight away. So they're down to 8 now. Then we had junior leader wounded. So we roll for him. A 2 is no effect. But then we also have junior leader routed from the table. So we roll for that as well. And that's a 5. So that's another 2 points off there, so they're down to 6. Do we have team section routed? I guess it's section wiped out. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's section wiped out. So I'm going to roll for that as well because they have disappeared. That is another bad thing that happened. So we've got a 2 for section wiped out. Is a minus 1. So they're down to 5 now, the Germans, on their force morale. Now the British over here. We've got team wiped out. That was the Piat team. So change dice. A 6 on the team wiped out is minus 1 point. So they're down to 8. They also had another team wiped out because their rifles were wiped out as part of this. A 3 is team wiped out is another point off there, so they're down to 7. They also had a junior leader killed, so we'll roll for him. A 1, that's 1 point off, so they're on to 6. And I think that's it because they haven't had anything else. They've had their teams wiped out, but that's all. So although the British have just won it, they're in incredibly bad shape, but they've still got that LMG team at least. Well, after that ill-fated German hand grenade attack, it's back to the British. See if they can do some damage with what they've got left. Let's have a look. 6 does nothing on its own. So we've got a senior leader, a 4, a 3 junior leader, and 2 1, so that's 2 teams. Right, using a 1, the British have deployed one of their mortars. They've also brought on their senior commander, their lieutenant as well, and they're getting their sergeant to activate with the 3 and the 1. But we'll do that in a second. The mortar is deployed, and it is firing at the Germans over here. 5s and 6s to hit because they're out of line of sight, so it's effective range. So that's a 1 hit. So 1 hit in light cover, 6 is a kill, 4, 5 is shock, 3 no effect on them, but at least they're getting mortared. So we are swapping the 3 and the 1 into a 4 and getting the sergeant to fire again, 3 rounds rapid at the remainder of this LMG team up here, just the 1 man and the 3 rifles. So let's have a look at that, see what happens. There's only 1 man in there, well, 1 LMG team in there. So let's see, 5s and 6s are hits this time, so swapping out all the non-5s and 6s. So that's 4 hits, so that's going to be 2 hits on the rifles, 2 hits on the LMG team. So we'll do the rifles first of all, 3 men there. They've got 5 shock as well. 6 is a kill, 3 is nothing in heavy cover, so we'll just keep that kill to one side. And then the 2 hits on the LMG. 3 and a 3 is nothing. So I'm going to count up all the... so it's the kill first of all from that round of firing. A 1, and you see a junior leader. 5, no it isn't. So it's a hit on one of the rifles, so that's reducing their numbers. Then we've also got the senior leader has appeared, the lieutenant, and he is getting the men down there to fire up at the Germans, the 2 Germans in this this side of the building. Now, so 5s and 6s here. So let's have a look, removing all the misses, and this is just at that rifle team. So this is all on them. Let's have a look. That's a lot of hits on 2 men. 6, 7 hits in total. So we're looking at 6 as the kills, 5 is shock in this case. So we have got 2 kills. That's killed those 2 and caused another shock. So let's put that shock on while I remember. So that takes them up to 7. 2 kills. Is it on their junior leader? 1 or a 2 it is. 4, no it isn't. So it's, that side has been destroyed. They now have 7 shock and only 1, 2, 3 men in there, 4 men in there. So 1 more shock or 1 more kill and they will be broken. Right, well, back to the Germans. Let's see what they get. Oh, they retain the phase, so double 6, so they keep it. And they've got a 1, a 2 and a 3, so that's a team, section, junior leader. These Germans are not giving up without a fight, so this team over here with the LMG-42 is firing at the remains of that British team. So let's just see. They're hitting on 4, 5s and 6s for the range. So that's 4 hits, all on that single team. Killing on 6s, 4, 5 shocking. So look, that's a kill and 1 shock as well. So that has broken them. So that team has broken. The Germans are trying to reduce the British morale at this point. So that's the team breaks, and that's a 6, so that is 2 points off the British morale. Ooh, that drops them down to 4. They also retreat as well. Let's just see if they run off the table. They fall back 6 inches, so no, they're still on the table at least, but they've caused a hefty hit on that morale. Meanwhile, back in the villa, the Germans have used one of their sections to move the pinned section downstairs. They can't move closer to the enemy, they can't move away. So by doing that, they're out of the enemy's position, so they've moved them downstairs. They've also then deployed with their junior leader another section up in the villa itself. So they're holding on with grim determination. They are using 3 rifles to fire down at the British section on the right, with the senior leader in there. So let's see if they hit 5s and 6s. That's 3 hits. So that's going to be, the British are in cover, so they're going to take 1 hit on the Bren, 2 hits on the rifles. So they are a 4 and a 1. So they're in light cover, so that's a shock on the rifles. And on the Bren, that's a 6, so that's a kill. Is it their junior or senior leader? A 5, no it isn't, so it's one of the crew from the Bren, and also a single shock on the rifle team as well. But then we've also got the LMG and rifles firing down at the sergeant and his mob. We're also using machine gewehr, so they get an extra +2 dice because of the direction of the junior leader. So 5s and 6s here. So let's see, this is not as good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits this time. So let's clear that dice tray out first of all. So they're actually firing down on 3 sections. There are 3 teams there because there is a mortar team as well. British are in cover, so they're going to choose where those hits are going. They will put, what should we do? 2 hits on the rifles. Then they're going to have 1 hit on the LMG and then 2 hits on the mortar. So let's start with the rifles. 6 is the kills, 4, 5 shock. So that's a kill and a shock on the rifles. Put those there. Then on the mortar, 2 dice. That's a shock on the mortar. And then we have that 1 extra hit on the LMG. That's a 5. No, that's a shock. So that 1 kill. Oh, it's gone on the sergeant or the junior leader. 1 to 3 it's the sergeant. 1 to 3 it's the junior leader. 4 to 6 the sergeant. 1 to 2 it's a junior leader. What's happened to him? 4 is he is wounded, so that's another bad thing's happened for the British. So let's just quickly work that out before I put all that shock on. Junior leader wounded. A 5. The junior leader wounded is -1 point. So the British have really broken at this point. They're down to 3 now on their force morale. And the Germans are retaining the phase. British morale is on 3, Germans are on 5. See what happens. See if the Germans can pull this one off. So they've got 2 5s. That turns them into a chain of command dice. That allows them to do quite a few things. 4 senior leader, 4 senior leader, 2 is a section. Right, well, back at the villa, the senior leader, German senior leader, has arrived. He is again getting this section to fire, doing exactly the same again, throwing his dice into the machine gewehr as well. So first one, 3 rifles firing down at the section over there. 1, 1, 1, that's 3 misses, no effect. But then we've also got machine gewehr firing into the sergeant and his mob. So let's see what happens with them. And we're looking at 5s and 6s to hit in this case. So let's just remove everything that isn't a hit. And again, this is spread across 3 teams rather than the 2 teams because we've got the mortars in there. So that's 6 hits. So that's 2 hits on each of those teams. So I'll work our way through. Mortars first of all. What we got there? 3 and a 1, no effect. They're in light cover, so they need 5s and 6s to kill. Second team is the rifles. A 5 is another shock, so that takes them up to 2. I'll tip that over while I'm thinking about it. There we are on 2. And then final one on the LMG team. A 6 and a 5, so that's another shock on the LMG team. Tip that up. And then also that kill. Is that kill on one of the leaders? A 1 and it is. I'll re-roll that in the dice tray. A 2, no it isn't, so it is one of the rifles. Finally the British get a go, but they're down to 3 command dice now. Let's see what they've got. 6 does nothing on its own, a 4 senior leader at least, and a 3 is a junior leader. Before the British do anything, the Germans are interrupting the turn with their chain of command dice. First of all, firing with this section again, so they're firing with the 3 rifles at the section on the right, so no hits again. And then they're firing this time with the LMG and just 4 rifles. No extra dice this time, but 5s and 6s are hits. So not as good as before. I think that's only 3 hits in total, 1 on each of those teams. But if they can keep up the fire and kill enough, they might actually cause the British morale to collapse. So let's have a look. On the mortar first of all, a 1 is nothing. Then we've got on the rifles. A 3 is nothing, and then finally on the LMG team, a 4 is 1 shock on that LMG team, so that takes them up to 3. So the British are getting their turn again. Sergeant has reduced shock, and then he's getting them to fire at the Germans in this window here. Meanwhile, our junior leader has got these to reduce shock and will be firing at the Germans in this window here. So let's first of all Sergeant and his men. So we've got 5s and 6s are hits, and that's not a great number. Let's just have a look. That's 4 hits, so that's 2 on the LMG, 2 on the rifles. So let's roll for those first of all. So we've got rifles. 6 is the kills, 5 is shock. No, nothing. And the LMG team, 4 and a 2, so again, nothing. And then we've got the other section over here firing up at the Germans. onto the window, so we're looking at 5s and 6s. 1, 2, 3 hits this time, and this is all on those rifles. So I'll just move this lot out. So we've got 3 hits just on the rifles. Have a look. So that's a kill and a shock. So let me just put that shock in there, see if that kill is on their junior or senior leader, in fact. Look, a 1 it is. 1 to 3 it's a junior, 4 to 6 it's a senior. It's the senior leader. What's happened to him? 6, he is lightly wounded. However, that is a bad things happen roll for the Germans. Senior leader wounded. A 6, minus 2 points. So they are also down onto 3 now. God, this is everything to play for at this point. Right, so we're back with the Germans, and you can see both of them force morale is on 3 at this point. So the Germans have got junior leader, and 2 2s is it's sections or a combination of a senior leader. I think I know what I'm probably going to go for. Right, well, we've got the German section over here, or junior leader actually is over here. He is getting his team to fire at the remains of that LMG team. So 5s and 6s are hits. In this case, we've got, and he's also directing the fire, so that's added to their machine gewehr. So they've hit 4. That remaining British guy is in light cover. So 4 hits on him. There's nobody else with him. Let's just see. They're trying to reduce as much morale as they can on the British here. 6 6 4 4. So that's him killed. That is a team wiped out. So that's a bad things happen straight away for the British, and it is a 2 and a team wiped out. Is no effect. So they are holding on at least, but the Germans have destroyed the British right flank. And then we're straight back in over on LMG corner. So we've got the German senior leader is directing fire again, so he's machine geweering with the LMG team, but he's also getting everybody else to fire at the same time. So we've got the rifles firing out that section down there. 5s and 6s, 2 hits. Let's see what they are. 6 is a kill, 5 is shock. 4 5 is shock, sorry, because they are... Sorry, you know what I've done again? Rifle team, first of all. 6 is a kill, 4 is a shock on the rifle team. I always forget to, in the heat of the moment, I forget to split the fire between the different teams, or the hits, should I say. So that's 1 on the rifle team, and then 1 hit on the LMG team, so that's a kill on the LMG team. And see if it's on their junior or senior leader. 6, no it isn't, so it's just on the LMG team. I'll just put a marker there so I remember. Then we've got machine gewehr coming in from up here as well, along with 4 rifles. So this is firing with the sergeant and the mortar. So we're hitting on 5s and 6s. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits this time, spread across those 3 teams. Again, the British are choosing because they're in the cover. So they will take 1 hit on each of the teams, then that extra 1 will go on the rifles. So we'll do the rifles first. 6 is kill, 5 is shock. 4 5 is shock, sorry, because they are in light cover, so that takes them up to 2. And a 3 does nothing. And then we've got 1 hit on that LMG team. 6, that's a kill. I'll just check that in a second, see how many other kills we got. 1 more hit on the mortar team, a 2 is nothing. So is that hit on 1 of the leaders? 6, no it isn't, so that's the LMG team. Another man off, so I think they're actually down to 1 man in there. Right, it's a British turn to try and do something. Let's see how they do. They have a 6 and a 5 and a 2, so that's a chain of command point, a section, and a 6 does nothing for them. So the British are using that section to fire the one on the end there, just with the LMG and the rifles. After 3 rifles in the window, 5s and 6s being hits. So we've got 1, 2, 3 hits, that's it. And all on the rifle team, because they're all rifles in that window. And that is no effect at all. So back to the Germans. Right, the Germans' turn. Can they snap the British morale? Let's have a look. We've got a 5, so that's giving them a chain of command point, and 2 junior leaders. That is quite useful actually for where they are at the moment. Okay, Germans again. Junior leader, he's reduced shock and then he's getting his section to fire. So 3 rifles down at that team section down there, and that is 2 hits. So 1 hit on the LMG, 1 on the rifles. So the rifles hit is a 4, so that's a shock, and the LMG team is a 4, so that's a shock on both of those, but no kills this time round. And then we have the machine gun, LMG firing with 4 rifles at the sergeant. So let's have a look again, see, get rid of these. This British attack has really stalled under the fire of the Germans. I thought they were doing really well when they started, but it's just gone, the balloon has definitely gone up here. So we've got 2, 4, 5 hits. So the British are going to take 1 hit on the LMG, 2 on the mortar, 2 on the rifles. So let's have a go with, first of all, the rifles. So that's a 4 and a 1, so that's another shock on them. So that's taking them up to 3. The Germans are slowly pecking away at them, if nothing else at least. And 2 hits on that mortar team. A 2 and a 2 is nothing, then 1 hit on the LMG team. And that's a 1, so that is also nothing as well. So relatively ineffectual fire from the Germans there. Using the other junior leader, the Germans have pushed forward with this team. They're going to try and close down that British jumping off point. That's their goal here, but they only got so far. They moved at the double, but they reduced shock because they have a junior leader who reduced the shock for them. Back to the British. What have we got? A senior leader, junior leader, and a section. So quite a mix there. I don't know if that's good or if that's not. We'll see what happens. Well, right back where the action is the hottest. We've got the British section down here. It's the junior leader. He has reduced shock and then he's getting them to fire at the 3 riflemen in that window. So let's see. God, that's a lot of hits. I probably would have done with that on the other dice roll. Let's have a look. We've got 2, 4, 6, 7 hits on 3 men again. So 6 is the kills, 5 is shock. What have we got? We've got 2 kills, no shock. See if any of those hits are on their leaders. There's junior and senior in there. 6, no it's not, so it's just 2 of the rifles, so that's reducing them at least. And then we've got the fire from the sergeant. He again has reduced shock across the section, and then he's just getting them to fire. They're obviously taking quite a lot of hits at this point, so, but that has caused quite a lot of hits. So that's 6 hits. 3 on the machine gun, 3 on the rifles. So let's go with the rifles first of all. 6 is the kills. 4, 2 and a 1 is nothing. And on the LMG is 5 is 1 shock on the LMG, but no kills. They're hoping for kills to take out those German leaders at some point. And speaking of the Germans, back to them. And we've got senior leader, junior leader. So their junior leader is probably going to pile his men forward towards that jumping off point, and the senior leader will be firing again from that villa building. Right, the German senior leader is doing pretty much the same. He's ignoring that shock for now, but he's getting the rifle to fire down at that section over there. Only 1, it's a miss, and then he's getting machine gun there to fire down at the sergeant and his guys as well. In the meantime, the other junior leader has moved closer to that jumping off point and has almost overrun it. Let's have a look at how many hits the sergeant and his men take. Let's get rid of everything that is a miss. So it's not a great number. That's 4 hits in total. So 1 on each team and then 1 left over, which they will put on their rifles. So let's have a look for the mortar first of all. 6, so that's a kill on the mortar, just keep it to one side. LMG, that's a 5, so that's a shock on the LMG. And then on the rifles, that's a 4 and a 2, so that's another shock on the rifles. See if that that kill is a hit on the leaders. 2, no it isn't, so 1 kill and 2 shock. We're at a little bit of an impasse here, but it's over to the British. Let's just see what happens with that. 6 does nothing on its own. A 3 is junior leader, a 2 is a section, so that's not great, but at least they can put some fire down on that villa again. Back in Hellfire Corner, we've got junior leader who's reduced shock a little, and then he's getting the section in the trees to fire up at the front of the building. 5s and 6s, that is just 1 hit this time, so obviously not as accurate as his sergeant. So the Germans decide it's going to go on the rifles. A 1, no effect. And then their section is firing over here at the one guy in the window now. So let's see, much better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits on that one bloke. But they're hoping for kills, because if they can get kills they could possibly take out one of the leaders, or at least wound them and do some damage to the German morale. So let's see. Oh, let's have a look. That is a 6, that is a kill and a shock as well. So we're going to put that shock on first while I remember. And one thing I always forget to do is put shock on. So there's 1 kill, so it's either taken out that rifle guy or it may have hit one of the leaders. Let's just have a look. Roll the dice. 1 and it is. It's hit one of the leaders. 1 to 3 junior, 4 to 6 senior. It has hit. I'm going to re-roll that. That was a 6. I'm going to re-roll it in the tray. A 6. It's the senior leader. What's happened to him? He's killed. He's been killed outright. That is a bad thing's happened for the Germans. This could be it. This could be the end of the game. Right, senior leader killed. If the Germans get a 6, game over. Anything else, they're still close. They're still hanging on, but very close. Let's see. 6 and it's game over. 5. Minus 2 points on the German morale. They're down to 1, so they lose the jumping off point. And they are reduced down to, I think, 2 dice, but I'll just check that. But that is their senior leader has been killed, which is exactly what the British wanted at this point. But still could go anyway. Right, the Germans are now down to 2 dice for their command dice. They also, I don't know whether to call this in the British favour, but the Germans are almost ready to capture a jumping off point. But let's just see, let's play a couple more turns, see what happens, because they may be able to get some chain of command points in here, but I don't know, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to take at least 3 turns to get up to what they need to close down that jumping off point. Let's see what we get. 5 and a 2, speaking of which, there we go. That's taken that up to 2, so they've got a section, so they can at least fire the men in the villa. So yeah, come on, let's just keep going for a little bit longer. But I think this might have now tipped towards a British victory, but let's just see what happens in this turn. So they're firing with their section here. They've got the machine gun and 4 rifles just firing out into the squad in the woods. 5s and 6s are hits, that's 3 hits. So let me just pull those out and we can re-roll those. So that's going to be 1 hit on each of those teams in the woods. So work our way through. So we've got the mortar first of all. 2 is no effect. The rifles, a 5 is a shock, and then the LMG, the 1 man on the LMG, a 5 is another shock. So they're just shocking them, apart from anything else. We've also got the rifle, single rifle firing at the section over there. 5, so that's a hit. The British will take it on their rifles, and that's a 2, no effect. Right, so back to the British with their 3 dice. Let's see what we get. 6 does nothing on its own, but they've got a 3 and a 2, junior leader and a section, so there's going to be more firing around that villa. It's going to definitely need replastering after this game, I think. Right, first of all, we've got the section in the woods. They're just firing with 6 dice at the front of the building. 5s and 6s are hits. That's 2 hits. There's 2 teams in there. There's a rifle team and an LMG team, so that's going to be 1 hit on each. So rifle team has taken a shock, so they've already got 1, so that takes them up to 2. And then the LMG team has taken no effect. And then we've got over here, junior leader has moved one of the guys from the other teams onto the LMG, so it's now firing at full rate instead of 4, but it hasn't reduced any shock, and then he's getting them to fire as well at this single guy in the window who is a survivor, nothing else. So we've got 1, 2, 3 hits on him. Again, they're hoping to get kills so they can land those on their junior leader up there instead. So let's see, 3 hits, and that's 3, 3, 2, nothing at all. Back to the Germans with their 2 dice, a 5 and a 4, so they are getting chain of command points, and the 4 is a senior leader, which they don't have anymore because he's dead. So we go straight over to the British. Let's see what they get. 3 and 2 2s, so that could be junior leader and a senior leader. Maybe this might be enough to finish off the Germans in that villa, who knows. Right, well, back in the familiar surroundings, we got Sergeant. He is firing, he's reduced some shock, and then he's firing, getting them to fire up at the front of the building. And we are hitting on 3 hits there. So that's going to be, the Germans are going to put 1 on their LMG team and 2 on the rifles. So the LMG team, 6, that's a kill. Let's just hold that for 1 second. And then 2 hits on those rifles, and 2 and 2 is nothing. That hit, is it on their junior leader? No, it's not. It's one of the one of the LMGs. So that has now reduced that LMG down, taken off 2 of its firing dice. And then we've also got, again, the other section over here firing at the guys in the roof, the one on his own. So these are always hitting loads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. But again, these, I'm hoping, for the British sake, that these will land on our junior leader. Let's have a look. We've got 3 kills and a shock. So let's put that shock up first of all. So he's definitely been killed. And then we've got those... We've got 3 kills in there in total, so that has killed him for sure. 1 to 3, and it's also hit the junior leader. 6, no it hasn't. So they're on 4, they're down to 6 men. So they are holding on with grim determination at this point. Right, back on our Germans. Let's see, 6 and a 5. 6 does nothing, but at least they get a chain of command point. Slowly building them up. They're hoping to get a full chain of command dice so they can close down that jumping off point and get some morale victory for it. But anyway, back to the British. Can't be doing that at this exciting point. Collapsing the dice tower. Where's all the dice gone? There it is. I'll re-roll that because it was cocked. So we've got 2, 2 and a 4. So that could be 2 senior leaders. I think that might just work for what they want to do this turn. Right, with the villa defence now in getting worse and worse state, the British have going to launch a close assault by running down the road here. They didn't get far enough, but they're getting close at least. Meanwhile, Sergeant has reduced some shock. He's shifted a man onto the LMG team, so they're back up to their firepower, and is now firing with them at the Germans up here. So, let's see what we hit. And we've got 2 hits out of all of that. So there's 2 teams, the rifle team and the LMG team. Let's see how many kills we get on those. Rifle team, 5, so that's a shock. So that takes them up to 4. I'm going to have to count up how many men there are in shock there is at this point as well. Oh, 5 shock at the moment, 6 men. And on the LMG team, 6, it's a kill. Is it on their junior leader? 1, and it is. 3, no it isn't. However, that team is wiped out. So that is a team wiped out roll and the bad things happen. Could this end the game? Here we are again. Team wiped out. On a 3 or above, the Germans lose. It's that simple. It's down to this dice roll. 4. That is 1 point off their morale. That brings them to 0. German morale collapses. They start to fall back. And the British, after all of that firepower and brassing up, they actually win the game. Amazing. Well, that was by far one of the hardest fought chain of command games I've played for a long time. I'm absolutely burnt out after that. So we've got the British section pushing their way down towards the villa itself, hopefully to try to close assault it. They'd still got 4 riflemen left in there on 4 shock with a junior leader, so they weren't broken yet. But underneath there was still that other section as well, remember them? Let's just have a look, see what state they're in. They were also they've got 8 men in there, 4 men in there, and 7 shock. So they were, I think if the close assault had gone in, the British would have easily won that one, even with a small section. Over here we got the sergeant punishing fire from their LMG over here as much as possible into that from the woods. And then finally the Germans managed to actually destroy the British left flank in that crazy hand grenade attack, but also by pushing forward with the reconnaissance team. They were in position here to capture that jumping off point. Had they done so and been able to end the turn, then it would have been game over for the British. So close. Let me just have a look at the morale on both of them. As we said, the Germans collapsed, went down to 0 there. You can see the British was just hovering on 3. Both of them had 4 chain of command points, so it could have gone either way with that, really. As I say, that was probably one of the closest games of chain of command I've had for a long time, and quite a head hitter. If you've enjoyed this game, as much as I've enjoyed playing it, please do leave a comment, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the video if you to the channel if you haven't already, and we will see you in the next Chain of Command game.